Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks or so since I've posted, and sorry, not sorry, I was on vacation. And funny enough, it was a very eventful time. Not only did we get one of the quickest UFC cards that I think I've ever seen in my life, as well as the absolute robbery that was Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. I still can't believe that decision at the end of the day. But to top it all off, I can say we finally made it, boys. The Ubers versus Bastard Munich match is finally over. And while I do say that, and I am a little happy to say that because, as you guys know, I've been crying, begging, pleading for this match to end because it just went on for way too long, in my opinion. It should have been quick, concise, done. That's it. Much like the Barcha match, not encroaching on the amount of chapters that the Munchen City match was, because that understandably had a lot of development. But here, I feel like where development should have been, it was, but at the same time, we focused a little too highly on the development of certain players, most of you know who I'm talking about, rather than focusing on the majority, as Blue Locks are normally known to do. And I feel like that's something that keeps happening more and more, and I feel like that's why I keep complaining. It's becoming the Isagi show. And obviously I know that's pretty stupid of me to say. He's Blue Lock's poster child, he is the main character, but one of the things that I loved about not only the early chapters of Blue Lock, but all the way up to especially the U20 match, I feel like the U20 match balances it perfectly, is the highlight that we give to side characters while also making sure that our main character stays in the main spotlight. You understand what I'm saying? And I bring up the U20 match very specifically because, like I said, I believe it's the perfect balance of main character and side character development that can happen within an ongoing match. Like, action taking place while also managing to carry development for many characters is a big thing. And obviously they had their highlights. There was Rin, there was Shido, there was Sai, there was Isagi. Obviously those four got the most development throughout the match, as well as the most screen time, but at the same time, that's expected. It was the main narrative, they were the main focus of the match, they were going to be the main superstars. We all kind of knew that. And the thing that I think the U20 match manages to do beautifully is individually highlight every single player perfectly without having to force it. And trust me, they're beginning to force it for God knows what reason. They used to do it perfectly and it used to flow so well. I really don't know what's happening, but again, I'm just going to try and keep my biases aside and just, keep going. Because at the end of the day, I do love this series. I make videos on it, so I probably shouldn't be as negative as I am regarding it now, or at least how I've been regarding it recently, but at the same time, I'm just human. I'm going to have my grievances, I'm going to be annoyed with some shit, I'm going to love some shit, and I love a lot of shit about this manga. But what I don't love is when a manga that was so perfect at character balancing and narrative reasoning for why stuff was happening. Like, you can justify basically everything that's happened up until the Ubers match, in my opinion. You can justify Shido scoring both the super goals in the U20 match. I mean, that was kind of stated the first time we saw him. You can justify Rin always technically beating Isagi. They're rivals at the end of the day, so that's kind of supposed to be expected. And even something as crazy as Nagi's 5-shot revolver can be predicted to an extent because we understand the type of character Nagi is. He is latent potential at its finest. Someone who has no idea what he's doing, but is just naturally God-given amazing at it. And I think that's why episode Nagi works so well, because we get to see everything from his perspective, someone who is slowly learning just how good he is at something and becoming better at it, even though he's already innately amazing. However, what I can't get behind is Isagi's rapid development in this last Ubers match. And don't get me wrong, I'm not someone who's been saying, oh, Isagi's kind of just ass-pulled or carried by plot armor throughout the entirety of the series, because I actually believe it's been the opposite. I feel like he's had really good narrative reasoning for everything he's done up until this point. But that's the key word, is up to this point, because the second that this match started all the way till its end, in my opinion at least, was bullshit. It contradicted everything that the manga had told us beforehand. From the given power hierarchies that we had at the time before the match, that I feel like mostly all the readers were pretty set on. Like, no one really had any grievances of where everyone was ranked, who was where, besides like a little bit of nitpicks with Nagi, maybe Baro, Rio in there. But that's just, again, nitpicks. What I just don't understand is where we are now. Because as you guys who read last week's chapter would know, Isagi ended the match, scoring 2 goals in the process and beating Kaiser, I guess you could say, in that little war that they had going on, the civil war, I guess you could say, between Bastard Munich. which I just don't understand. And it makes no sense to me. And if one of you guys wants to try and debate it, good luck. You're not going to successfully. I truly don't think you will. But it's just like, it's been a week almost, and it's still kind of like hard to wrap my head around. I don't really understand how we got to this point. And I'm not hating. You can say I'm hating if you want to, but I'm truly not. It's logic that this goes against. And someone like myself who has read and read and read and studied and studied and studied this manga for videos, for debates on stream, for just simple stream topics, I find it bullshit. I think it's absolute bullshit. And it just takes the perfect balance of power that the story has had this entire time, as well as Isagi's really, really good climb up in power. Because let's face it, he's been developing fast, and we all knew that, but it's been justifiable in the narrative that we've seen. Obviously, Blue Lock's a fast-paced manga. He's been doing it pretty quickly, but not this match. Not this match. And don't get me wrong, his development has been pretty rapid throughout the entirety of the series, but we all knew that, and we were okay with it because it had narrative reasoning. It wasn't happening too quick. It wasn't like he was going here to here to here. He was going based on the level of opponent he was facing. And I guess you could say that's happening right now, but it just shouldn't have happened this quickly. So let me get into this right now, because I know a lot of you are going to be complaining in the comments like, oh, shut up, you're just mad that your predictions didn't come true, or oh, you have no idea about Isagi or the manga itself, when we all know that's not the case. I know more than every single one of you about this manga. It's just, I am mad, but I'm mad for a justifiable reason. And here that reason is. Going back to the start of the Ubers vs. Bastard match, I was already pissed off with the fact that Isagi scored the first goal. I think the lefty shot should have happened. I had no issues with the lefty shot when he scored it, besides the fact that he scored it so quickly. The first play of the game, Isagi scored. Realistically. Like, he got the ball, and he scored instantly. And the part that is hard to understand is he did so with his new piece that he said he found. A new piece that was later revealed to be only 40% complete. Not only was it only 40% complete, but we already knew ahead of time that the Ubers were stated to be the most fundamental and strategic-based team in the entirety of the Neo Egoist League, said to win their matches, winning 0-1. But also, the introduction of the new Gen 11 center back Don Lorenzo, coinciding with the already established high-level defenders, at least in the Blue Lock verse that we've seen so far in Oliver Aiku, in Iki Nico, in Jubei Ryu. It's just, it made no sense when it first happened, and it still doesn't make sense to me. But I guess it does, and the reason that it makes sense is because it was bullshit. Plot convenience. That's the only reason it happened. And that's the only reason I'm going to stick to it. And what I think happened was the author backed himself up into a narrative corner because he understood that he's coming to the end of the Neo Egoist League and Isagi's still down here, whereas Kaiser is up here. At least before this match. This is where it was. The power ceiling was still pretty high for Isagi to climb up, and I feel like he realized, oh shit, I kind of need him to be a little higher before he gets to Reen, before he gets to Shido, and just everything that PXG has to offer. Because I think we can all kind of guess that PXG is going to be absolutely amazing. Like, it's the one match we've all been waiting for. I feel like a lot of people are going to say it's going to be a letdown no matter what, because we've built up so much hype around PXG to be even better than the U20, better than every NEL match that we've had. So, obviously, living up to expectations like that's going to be difficult, but at the same time, there's no way you can fuck up a match that big. There's just too much going on, too much fanfare, too much stuff to be excited about. Unless you completely forego half of the story elements, you're really not going to let anyone down with that match. But this is completely different. Because instead of holding on to those story elements that you had, you kind of just threw them away. All in order to make Isagi stronger as fast as possible. But it made no sense at the end of the day. Like I said, it made absolutely zero sense. And what made zero sense is how he is supposed to outplay not only just Don Lorenzo, but the entirety of the Ubers lineup, simply because he has Metavision. Like, no, that shouldn't that shouldn't be applicable. And that's the argument that a lot of people try to give. It's, oh, he has Metavision. Oh, it's broken. Every single person and their mom in this series has Metavision right now. Like, I had to get into a debate with someone on TikTok, by the way, so I expected it to be brain dead. But this person, this child, I should say, because I could tell that they were a kid, they wanted to tell me that Isagi's already better than Kaiser at this point. And when I asked why, they literally only said because of Metavision. For those of you who are smoother brained, like my friend here from the TikTok comment, if I can find the comment, I'll keep it right here, but I really doubt I'm going to. Isagi only realized Metavision was a thing when he watched Kaiser play. The stated Kaiser Eye is literally the basis of Metavision. It's the fundamental concept of what Metavision is. If Kaiser wasn't a thing, Isagi wouldn't have known that it was a thing. So what I'm trying to get at is, how is his Metavision working so much better than everybody else's? Or is it the case of everyone else's Metavision just isn't working as much as his is? And don't get me wrong, that could be the case, and there could just be like tier 1 Metavision, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and Isagi's already on tier 5 because his IQ stats are just so high to make up for the lack in physicals. I guess we have a guest. Hi, buddy. Who's a good boy? And that is where the biggest argument comes in, is at what point are we going to just allow Metavision to continue to be the only reasoning for Isagi leveling up? And you could say that a lot of this was because of his lefty shot and the training that he's done. But dude, everyone's been training. And you're telling me Isagi's the only one training hard? Every single one of these players is trying to go pro. Besides maybe Hiyori, but, you know, that's something completely different. And before I go on yapping too much, I think the question, the very simple question I want to ask you guys, every single one of you who reads this story and who agrees with what I say or disagrees with what I say, I think it's just a simple question that needs to be asked. And it's, how can Isagi, who before this match was just upgraded to a mere 88 overall, be better than a 98 overall Michael Kaiser? And I know going off of those number stats is kind of stupid, and you might be like, oh, that's not the only thing you can justify. But even still, feat-wise, there's nothing he had leading up to this match, and even after this match, that puts him above Kaiser in any category besides simply vision or playmaking. Even defensively, I still don't believe that Isagi is defensively better than Kaiser. Truthfully, he's just had more narrative stops due to the fact that we have to showcase his Metavision starting to work. That's why he stopped so many people in Munchen, because he just developed it. It's just showing that he's actually starting to use it. Not only that, he's trying a lot harder than Kaiser is in all these matches. So he's going to be all over the place because he has to prove himself a lot more. It makes sense that he's doing much more, but at the same time, you can't just teleport, which is what he's doing. How is Isagi now, at the end of the Ubers match, somehow a top 5 defender, no, scratch that, top 3 defender, top 3 playmaker, and top 3 striker in the verse, all at once? Like, explain that to me, how that makes sense, when he's outrunning, outmuscling, outmaneuvering all these guys simply because his vision and his playmaking and his field sense and his positioning is better. Even if your positioning is as good as it can be and you know exactly where to get in, you're not always going to be able to make it happen. And for the reasons Isagi said, because if your physical stats don't match what your brain can comprehend, it's not going to be able to happen. And I truly don't think that should be able to pull off the shit that he's pulling off, or be able to pull off anything of this caliber for that matter. Besides when Lorenzo directly man-marked him, which just goes to show, you know, there is still levels to this shit. Still, he shouldn't be making this happen. But at the same time, I could be hating again. I have been a true hater throughout this entire match, and it's just because nothing's gone the way I predicted. But at the same time, it's also because nothing has gone the way that the narrative reasonably would say it should. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm a little annoyed. And I'm especially like, what the fuck's gonna happen in the PXG match? Like, at this point, I don't think that Bastion Munich has a chance against PXG, because I believed that they were going to beat PXG in the beginning, but that's after a loss to Ubers, you know, trying to realize everything they have to overcome to truly accomplish what they were doing. And I felt like this Ubers match was simply going to be a stepping stone to where Isagi was eventually going to surpass everybody in the final match, because in my opinion, that would make the most sense. But at the same time, I guess not. Everyone else seemed to have absolutely loved this game. Or not everyone else. It's like split pretty 50-50. People either absolutely despise anything that happened in this match, or they absolutely love everything that happened in this match. There's no in between. And if you want to say you're in between, go fuck yourself, you're not. But for now, that is all I have to talk to you guys about. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and consider subbing up to the channel with noties turned on so you never miss another video from myself. Due to the fact that this match is finally over, I can finally make more videos. And I truly mean that about the noti bell, because we're going to be going absolutely fucking stupid the month of November. Trust me, boys. Trust me. I have a brand new updated top 10 video coming out tomorrow, as well as my predictions for the PXG match, a speed breakdown of the entire Ubers match. For those of you who don't like to listen to 4-hour-long videos, shout out my boy Animasu. Go check his video out. It's very good. I'm not throwing shade. I just, you know, wanted to make a video, but I'm not making it that long. I barely make videos as it is. But yeah, with that said, that's all I got for you today. Love you guys. Take it easy.